This Mobil 301 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He is Cody Zeeb. I am Rod Villagomez. And today, look, Cody, we weighed the options this morning, right? Because we always try to do a Xfinity and or truck episode directly after the Cup episode. However, books were a little slow on the uptake today. So we decided to shift gears and just give you a DFS episode because they're not slacking this week. They know what's up, and they're going to give us plenty to talk about as we dive into the DFS part of the Mobil 301. And because there's only two series, we're going to throw in some bonus picks and give you some truck series DFS picks as well.
Yeah, been a little while since we talked truck DFS, so that's a lot of fun. I think this is a perfect day for a little DFS talk. We'll break up the betting into 2 days. And just like, I guess I've not even looked here recently, but when we talked just a couple hours ago, there was not many options out, no positional bets, stuff like that for the trucks. Giving it another full day to allow us to build a full card when trucks is the only thing on the card for that show is just better. And I had another point that I completely just blanked out and forgot as I was going to say that. I don't even know what I was going to say, Rod. So, fuck it. I don't know.
He's a professional broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen. No, look.
Boy, God, that's going to bother me. It's going to just randomly during the show, I'm going to yell out whatever I was about to say here because it's going to come to my head and I'm going to be like, motherfucker, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, man. It's Wednesday, everybody. And definitely. You know what's funny, Cody, is here we are. We're in September and we are on the back end of the NASCAR season in general. And when you think about, right, 3 episodes a week for the better part of since February, I'm surprised that we are still putting coherent sentences together.
Well, honestly, we don't really ever stop because even during the off season, we were doing 3 a week, weren't we? I think, I don't remember if we slowed down. I think because we were 5 a week last year for the season, and then we changed it to 3 in the off season and rolled all the way through the off season with 3 and continued for 3 here. And there's been points, right, where I've missed a few shows, you've missed a few shows, but those aren't necessarily like big breaks, I guess. But, sometimes it piles on.
It's all right. It's all right. Our word count for the year is still intact. So we have plenty of words to put together and we will do exactly that. But first, let's say hi to the chat. Mark is checking in saying he's first and hello. Wants to know who everyone's picked to win at New Hampshire. Well, we figured that one out yesterday. And he also predicts that Christopher Bell is going to win 2 in a row because that's what Marcus does.
Same.
Cannot believe that his driver won at Bristol.
Okay. You've been calling your shot for a couple of weeks. just a couple at least. But you got it right. He hit it. And hey, maybe he'll go back to back like he did earlier this season.
Spoiler alert, listen to the betting episode if you want to hear plenty more about Christopher Bell, because it's all going to be in there, and it'll be in this one, I'm pretty sure, as well, too. But you know what else is out there? The SGPN app. It's in your app store right now. You get easy access to all of our free picks and our props. You can download the show directly from that app if you want, and find all the rest of the fine shows on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network on the app. Yes, Cody, we are in New Hampshire, Loudon, New Hampshire, at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for this this Mobil 1 301. Then, of course, the truck race, which I have to look up the truck race name, because I completely that's the one that I was like, all right, I'll get that one. And then Racing Reference does not have the truck race name, so we're already off to a great start on this episode today. So the truck race is
the EJP 175.
Team EJP 175 from the New Hampshire.
According to the NASCAR app, it's just EJP 175. So
according to the NASCAR site, it's Team EJP.
Apparently the app and site are not communicating appropriately.
So it's not just us, it's everybody out there today. So I'd love that. All right. Like we said, Trucks and Cup are both their Xfinity off for the week. And Jess, just in time, she heard that
She heard Trucks. She came running. Love to see it. Hello, Jess. Nice to see you. I do have a piece of news we could start off with, Rod, before we dive too deep into things. I guess we maybe should have mentioned it yesterday, although now sort of irrelevant for this week anyways. But Denny Hamlin obviously lost a wheel last week. There was kind of some questions. Would they be suspended, the pit crew, or would they not? Because it came off like 20 laps after the pit stop, which is kind of crazy. But they were suspended, so he'll lose his jackman and his tire changer for 2 weeks. But based on that new rule they have this year, JGR has decided to take the defer, right? You can defer that a week. And so they're going to still be there this week for New Hampshire, and then they'll miss Kansas and Coda. You want them, I guess, in JGR's thought process, right? It would be looking at this round for Denny Hamlin. You need to have a good New Hampshire. You need to have a good Kansas. The Roval, he just needs to survive, right? It's road courses are not Denny's thing. We all know that. He's gotten a lot better over the years, but it's not his thing. So go into New Hampshire, a big JGR track, as we talked yesterday, and go have a strong day, get yourself a lead. They'll miss him at Kansas for sure, where he's been good at throughout the years. But either way, if you did the suspension now or you did the suspension later, you're missing him at Kansas. And then you'll miss him at the Roval instead of New Hampshire this week. Shorter track. Also, being missing for Kansas, which is 1.5 miles, and the Roval, which is a road course, obviously, allows for more time to make mistakes if they happen, right? And I would imagine they're going to pull guys over from Ty Gibbs' pit crew. That should be what they should do, and make sure that he's got a stellar pit crew still. And I don't think there's going to be issues, but it will buy them more time if there is mistakes to not suddenly, New Hampshire, you're going to lose laps much quicker and stuff. So good call by them, I think, and not really shocking for them to defer those suspensions for another week. And then he'll be missing those two guys for Kansas and Coda.
I was going to suggest
saying Coda. It's the Roval.
Keep saying Coda.
All right. Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah.
It's the Roval. Coda. Whatever. It's a road course. Same difference. They're
Hamlin?
all road courses are the same, right? For Denny Hamlin,
Hamlin,
at least. Yes, that's right.
Most certainly is. Yeah, no, I was going to suggest that the 54 is probably ripe for the picking if you want some pit crew members, because they've been a pretty good pit crew all season long.
Well, and they're not in the playoffs. So, I mean, if you're that, it's no different if it was the 20 team, you're going to take it from that if he's not in the playoffs. If it was Denny's team that wasn't in the playoffs, you're going to pull from that team. Like, that's who JGR should be pulling guys for when they're still competing in the playoffs. So, that's how it works.
Indeed. All right. Well, then, Cody, as we start to look ahead to this race, to this weekend, like we said, we have the Team EJP 175 from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It is, of course, the truck race set for 175 laps around this 1.058 mile paved track for 185.150 miles around the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. Another playoff race for the trucks, which means obviously there's no surprises in the entry list. But, Cody, we've already seen this playoff get off to a very crazy start, as maybe not a lot of people predicted, other than maybe me. But yeah, this has been an already crazy start to the playoffs for the trucks.
Yeah, I mean, we should just expect all things playoffs in NASCAR for there to be chaos, because it seems like there always is. There is 36 entries for the 36 spots in this one. And, I was kind of combing through the list. Brent Cruz is back in the one truck for Tricon. Outside of that, I don't know that there was really any big names on the entry list as I kind of do another peek through. I mean, Corey LaJoie, obviously, as we know, is going to continue to run the 77. Carson Kvapil was initially scheduled to be in the 97, but that entry's been withdrawn, so I don't know what the deal was with that. It was going to be the 37th entry. Maybe they were worried about not making the race or something. So Carson won't be competing in this one. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, no 07 truck this week. So nothing else really outside of the norm. Connor Jones in the 41. That's really about the only other notable, I do suppose.
Yeah, everybody else sort of hanging around there. Derek White in the 69, Michael Christopher Jr. in the 62. Yeah, I mean, no real big names splashing around in the truck series this week, other than playoff guys.
And then to set up the playoffs, as you just mentioned, this is the cut race before the round of 8 here. So we've done 2. Darlington and Bristol were the first 2 runs for the truck series. Remember, they started all the way back. August 30th was the beginning of their playoffs. And so Corey Heim's already locked into the next round. Lane Riggs is already locked into the next round. Those 2 guys are safe. They don't have anything to worry about this week. And I would imagine both of them will be in the running for the win. But this will be the race. So we cut from 10 down to 8. Theirs is a little different, right? So only lopping 2 guys off, basically. Daniel Hemrick's sitting pretty solid coming into this one. He's 51 points to the good. Majeski's 46 to the good. Those guys, I mean, barring anything catastrophic, will be in to the next round. Enfinger and Ankrum are both feeling pretty good at 29 points to the good. Caden Honeycutt's 18 points to the good. Roger Carruth is 14 to the good. Jake Garcia's 14 to the bad. Chandler Smith, after a couple of rough weeks, is 24 points below the cut line. Not must win, but he's probably going to need some help if he is not able to win this week. And he does. I think it was North Wilkesboro. He won earlier this season. So, he's won in the short flats earlier this year. We'll see what they can put together, but definitely going to be a nail-biting race for Chandler Smith.
Yeah, and he's I think really his mindset is always win. So win and get in for him for sure, because obviously we've seen Lane Riggs succeed, right? And he's probably sitting there thinking, well, why am I not? He's the Christopher Bell of the truck series right now. All my teammates are winning. Why am I not winning? Well, you only got one there, Christopher, and he's definitely a fast truck. So yeah, I mean, it'll be, like I said, interesting to watch this play out. Strategy probably won't be a huge factor in this one, in that I know Chandler Smith will probably be out there for a lot of stage points, obviously. And, these guys in the playoffs are going to want to secure their points. So most of them will probably end up being on the same strategy. And that, for DFS purposes, we'll talk through and figure out how to best approach that, because like we said, this is the cut race. So everybody's on the line right now.
Yeah. Should be a pretty straightforward race, though, I think.
I agree. All right. Speaking of straightforward, we'll get to some of those DFS picks on the other side of this break. But let me first tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. Their prop builder is second to none. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. And by listening to this show, even 5 seconds, that I take that to heart, because I find you all of the craziest bets that I can particularly find out there. There's easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. I know that I give you crazy bets, but the NFL is still out there, and they've got the Eagles and the Rams. The line right now for the Eagles, they're 3-point favorites at -120. I know that they're on the road in LA, but it's the Eagles, man. They just knocked off the Chiefs for like the umpteenth million time. They're flying high. Saquon Barkley can't be stopped. The tush push is pushing along. I don't see any way that they can't beat the LA Rams by at least 3 points. So give me the Eagles over the Rams -3. You can find that over on mybookie.ag. You can use promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Since Novig is an exchange, you know you're getting some of the best prices in the market. Novig is available in more than 35 states. So go download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. All right, let's return to the scene of the crime here in New Hampshire as we start to talk about this team EJP 175. Cody, as we always do, we will give people our high price driver suggestion, our mid price driver suggestion, and then give them some bargain barrel prices here for the drivers.
No fucking way. So TK actually read my mind, Rod, because that's exactly the point. We were talking at the opening of the show about why it was maybe okay to just push the Truck Series picks to tomorrow. I was saying how, it'll leave them, let the markets more time to give us good bets. And the other point that I completely forgot that I was going to say was that the truck race is on Saturday. So it's not like last week it was Thursday. We got to get the show in Wednesday because the truck race is the next day. Like this week, it's not till Saturday. We got all kinds of time. TK, you're just amazing, my friend. So yes, that's exactly. Thank you. It was going to bother me the rest of the day. So I'm glad we got that all out of the way. All right, I can reset and focus and have a clear mind as we get into these picks now, Rod.
Smartest listeners in the entire industry. We have them right here on this show. You guys are amazing. Always coming through in a clutch for us.
Yes. All right, Rod, you know who's going to come in for the clutch for us this week? Lane Riggs, $12,500. Not even the most expensive guy on the board, when maybe he should be. If you were to take out only the short tracks in this season, we would be talking a lot more about one Lane Riggs because he's been absolutely amazing on them. I know Bristol runs more like an intermediate track, but it's still considered a short track. He started 7th last week, almost wrecked on lap 1, goes to the back, fights all the way back, leads 110 laps, wins the race. Nobody could even touch him. He's coming off of a race like that. Nothing to worry about this week, right? Already locked into the round of 8, so you love to see that. Richmond, you go back a few weeks, finished in 3rd place there, kind of ran around that spot all day. Indianapolis, that was IRP, right? The short track there. Started 11th, so wasn't even the best of starts. Don't worry if he doesn't start well. He's going to find his way up front, and he's going to make good use of it. Gets up to front, leads 160 laps, wins that race. He also has won other places like Pocono, where he led 25 laps, a big track there. In Nashville, a bit of a shorter track, led 30 laps, finished in 3rd place. North Wilkesboro, 2nd place. He didn't lead any laps that day, so a bit disappointing for that one. But, that was kind of before he really got things going. I mean, at that point, he hadn't won any races. Now he's won 3 of the last, 8 races, I think it is. So he's really started checking them off here lately. Struggled a bit at Martinsville earlier on in the season. We don't have any New Hampshire races for the Truck Series to go back and look on. They haven't raced here since 2017. Christopher Bell, by the way, the winner of that race, Rod, as we talked about yesterday. But if you go back, Lane Riggs has been really good on the short, flat tracks. You even going back to last year, a 6th place run at Martinsville. Milwaukee, he went out, led 53 laps and won there. Bristol led 80 laps, won there. Indianapolis was a 5th place finish after not starting well, started back in 17th, so found his way up through the field. Richmond was a 5th place finish, all good runs there. North Wilkesboro was a 3rd place finish there. So Lane Riggs has been very, very good overall everywhere. He's been good each and every week. We've kind of said he's the one guy who can somewhat stick with Corey Heim most weeks. But when it comes to the short tracks, I think he's gone to the point where he should be the favorite on short tracks always. And I think he's the #1 guy. For a while, that Majeski had that mantle, as Jess brings up the piano man, but I think that mantle's kind of been taken from him. Like, he's not really done what he used to do, and I think Lane Riggs has kind of stole that spotlight. So, give me Lane Riggs, $12,500.
Spoiler alert, there's one name in the doc right now in our Truck Series doc, and I'll give you a hint on who that name is. You just said his name, and of course, that's the one where I'm going to agree with you 100%, right? I said last week that Riggs would be, or the last time the trucks were out, that Riggs would be the man.
I had to beat you to it this time because on a short track, like, he's just too good to pass up. And I know you're about to make a case for him, but if you're going to put the two guys head to head, I'm going to take Riggs because he's the short track guy. That being said, your guy, he's okay most places, at least, Rod.
My guy led 122 laps last time out on the track last week for 80 fantasy points. He was $14,000. Sure. Well, this week he's only $13,500, which means you get a discount on Corey Heim. Here's the thing. Okay. If you are in a cash game and you do not have, if you're in a multi-entry cash game, obviously, Corey Heim, Lane Riggs, obviously got to be 1A, 1B in your lineups. You have to have Corey Heim, because Corey Heim has led laps in every single race this season. It's just insane, right? And you look at his fantasy points per race this season, 66.8. That is a full 15 points ahead of Lane Riggs at 51.2. Not to say that he's, going to go out and score you 66 this particular day, but God, look, 80 last week, 78 the week before that, 80 the week before that, 66 the week before that, 46 the week before that, 97. Oh, bad stretch, 22, 28, but 69 before that, 93, 83, 64. Stop me when you hear a bad number. 92, 80. Look, he scored you 100 points a few weeks ago as well in the Boys and Girls Club of Blue Ridge 200, 149 laps, I'm assuming of 200 laps, and just completely dominated the day, right? So this is me giving you permission, and I do this every once in a while, especially on DFS episodes where a lot of people want to get cute. A lot of people want to outsmart everybody because they think they're the smartest person in the room. And that's all fine and well. And if you are, hats off to you. I applaud you for winning money off of it. But look, man, Corey Heim, if you want to try to get cute, this is not the time to get cute, especially in the playoffs. Especially an opportunity for him to go out and on a track that he's never seen, right? Obviously, we know that they, like Cody said, they haven't been out here since 2017, the trucks. So he hasn't seen this track. But that doesn't stop Corey Heim from being good. And I think that in this case, you have to have at least one, if not multiple lineups with Corey Heim in it. Because if he goes out and leads 160 of 175 laps, well, you just missed out on the highest scoring driver in the world because you thought you were smarter than everybody else. So now if he goes out and he crashes and he only leads 3 laps, then you can come at me and say, well, Rod, that wasn't a very smart play. And I'll say, yeah, you're probably right. But the chances of him doing that have slimmed lately, right, Cody? We haven't seen all of the pitfalls and missteps from Corey Heim that we saw in the middle of the season. So he's tightening up at the right time. That's dangerous for the field. It's good for your DFS lineup.
Yeah, big time. That was the argument against him at the beginning of the season was, yeah, he could go out and lead a bunch of laps and stuff, but then he wasn't always getting the results. Like he'd dominate a race, lead a bunch of laps. We'd go to overtime. He'd get wrecked. He'd finish poorly. And then, it's still an okay DFS day because the laps led and stuff, but it kind of balanced out, washed out. That's the argument against a guy like Kyle Larson most weeks is like, yes, any given week outside of super speedways, you can paint a picture for him to be really good, but well, a lot of times he isn't. So that's where it makes it hard, but just maybe don't overthink it with Corey Heim, I guess is the message. Like he's going to be good. He's going to be fast. I think that Lane Riggs will beat him, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow in the betting episode, but he's going to have a good day. He's probably going to lead laps. He's going to be right there in the mix like he always is. And I think he's a guy you'll need to play.
Indeed. All right. Well, we got to take a step down for the value because obviously these two guys are pretty damn expensive. So we're going to need to find the value drivers, especially on this particular slate. So who are we going with on our mid-tier driver, Cody?
Yeah, for $8,500, you can get the guy who has the 4th best average fantasy points per race. And that is one Daniel Hemrick. We've talked about him a lot this season and just how consistent he is, but that's really the thing with him. You're not getting flashy. He's not going to go lead you a bunch of laps. He's got 8 laps led is the most he's led in a race, and that was a race he didn't even win. So that, he's not going to get you the laps led, unfortunately. It'd be nice if he could add that element of things, but he's kind of like a not quite mid-pack, but he starts 11th to 20th basically every single week, but yet he finishes top 5 or very close to it each and every single week. Last week at Bristol, starts in 11th place, finishes in 5th place. It's a 50-point day for you. It's not going to light the world on fire, but he's also got a very high floor because he's not having bad weeks for you most of the time. Really, there's 2 outliers this season. One was Richmond, where he got caught up in a wreck and finished in 33rd, so he had negative points then. and the other was Michigan, where he almost won the race in one of those like 8 crazy overtime finishes we had after like 7 red flags, but ends up finishing 27th at the end of the day. So those were his really bad days. Bristol in the spring was a little bit rough, where he started first and finished 13th, but outside of that, it's been a very, very consistent season for him. And it starts at 11th, finishing 5th, 15th to 7th, 7th to 2nd, 17th to 2nd, 6th to 7th is probably one a little more than that, but 19th to 5th, 7th to 4th, 7th to 4th, again, like 2nd to 2nd, even that's fine. 17th to 3rd, like that's going through a majority of his season, just having solid days. We saw at Martinsville, puts himself in the right position where he can be there to snag the lead late. 4 laps led was all he had there. If you remember, Corey Heim dominates that race and then gets wrecked on a late restart, and Hemrick slips in there, moves from 5th to 1st, wins you the day, so he ends up scoring a good amount of points for you. North Wilkesboro had a 4th place run when you're looking at short tracks. IRP a couple of weeks ago, a 7th place run. So he runs just in, really, it's not just short tracks, it's everywhere with Daniel Hemrick. Very consistent driver, consistently going to get you points. He's not maybe the GPP guy you want that's in this range that has the ability to lead a ton of laps, although I think he has that ability, and I'm sort of surprised we haven't seen that race because, and I don't know if it's just because Heim has been next level this year and Riggs has also been very great, but we saw last year that in the 19th Christian Eckes, that car led so many laps and ran so well week to week. Hemrick hasn't quite had that, but we've seen from him before. If you go back to his Xfinity days, Rod, he dominated. He was Sheldon Creed on steroids. Like, he would go out and lead 200 laps in a race and finish second every single time. Finally won the championship, which was crazy. That was the only race he's ever won in the top 3 series. But he has the ability in good cars, JGR at the time, and now at the McAnally Hilgeman here, to run really well every week. So maybe this is a week he jumps up and leads laps. Probably not, but he's going to get you a good finish. That's what I'm looking for here. And a nice 50-point day, moving from 11th to 5th, that's fine. I'll take that week in and week out. He's a safety guy in your lineup that's just going to go have a strong day. Doesn't cost a ton, kind of saves you some money here in the middle because guys like Riggs, guys like Heim, they're going to go do the heavy lifting for me and score all the big points.
Indeed. Yeah. And for Hemrick, you are kind of waiting for that breakout. And that may come during the playoffs. It may come next season when both Corey Heim and, Lane Riggs may not have moved on, but Corey Heim for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you.
Is Corey Heim moving on, Ron? I don't know. No. We don't know. There's no announcements. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's coming. We may be breaking that one during the off season for sure. But, all right, Guy. I don't. It's funny because, like you said, we haven't done truck DFS in a while, and I feel like we may have talked about Matt Mills one of the last few times that we've done a DFS episode for the Truck Series. But let's talk about him now. Matt Mills, $6,400. You know that I love to decipher or love to shift the sorting pile by the fantasy points per race. Matt Mills isn't glowing. He's 24.8, but if you look at some of these other drivers that are in his price range, he definitely is scoring better than them. Jack Wood at $6,100, definitely scoring better than him. Spencer Boyd, Andres De Lara, Mosak, Sutton, Cruz, Breidinger, like all these folks he's scoring better than. And I feel like, to me, 24.8 fantasy points per race for Matt Mills is worth taking a stab on, especially at $6,400 when we need the salary relief fitting in all these folks. So last week out, he got you 36 points, started 24th, finished in 16th place at Bristol. Very solid finish there. And then he got you a 17th place finish at Richmond after starting in 20th, 9th place at Watkins Glen, 21st at IRP, he started 25th, and then a 20th at Pocono, a 7th place at Charlotte, 12th place at Kansas, 15th at Martinsville after starting 23rd, 14th at Homestead, 16th at Las Vegas after starting 24th. Really, really solid DFS days. Again, we're not asking a whole ton out of Matt Mills in that Nice truck. We just want him to be able to be a solid top 20, if not better, competitor on the day and start somewhere in the back end of the 20s and somewhere in the top of the 30s, right? So like I said, 36 points last week. The bad week a couple of weeks ago got you 29, 51, 29, 11, 24, 18, 49, right? And that 7th place finish that he had gotten earlier. So there are some very peak days for Matt Mills, and we know that the truck is good because we know that Caden Honeycutt was running well in that truck before he got bounced. And now we know that the 45 that's being occupied still is still been running well by, Bailey Curry. So Bailey Curry's been doing pretty well in that 45 because it's got some speed in it. So the 42 also had speed. We just need to see Matt Mills maybe do a little bit more to get into betting episode discussions each and every week. But as far as DFS purposes are concerned, I really feel good about his ability to return on a $6,400 pay tag, because that's what you need out of a driver like this. If you're going to get Corey Heim up there, you're going to need to go very, very cheap in the mid-range driver.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this play a lot. Kind of a guy that just goes under the radar, but he's been delivering solid results. And we know these Nice trucks, they're not the Tricon trucks. They're not the front row trucks, but they are kind of that next tier of truck that are very solid, reliable, and they've got pretty good drivers in them. So I like
Indeed.
that.
All right. Well, we got to save money now for sure, because we have really, really stretched our budget thin. So who are we going with in the low price drivers?
Yeah, talk about people that are reliable. This time I'm going to go to Mrs. Reliable, and that's Toni Breidinger. You can get her at $5,900, and much like a Daniel Hemrick, she is very reliable. We've talked about her a few times that we have talked about the Truck Series DFS this year. I play her just about every single week because you know what you're going to get out of her. Again, it's not going to be just massive high-scoring days most of the time, but I don't need that. 21 points last week. All she does, it starts in 31st and finishes in 26th. That's it. Move forward 5 spots near the back of the field. That's all you need from her. 21 points. The week before, 23 points. She moved from 29th to 24th. How many spots is that? 5 spots yet again, right? The week before, 24 points. She moved up 6 spots that week, got you an extra point even there. So, there's a 12 in there, but that's a road course. I'm not going to hold that against her. 16 at IRP, so you like that. 27, 25, like that's what she does, is just goes out and has good, solid days. She knows what she's there for, and we talk about this a lot with different drivers. Their goals are different for everybody, and she's not under the illusion she's going to go out and win these races. She goes out and minds her P's and Q's, takes care of her business, and shows up and has good days just about every single week. She's got a little bit of that upside and good finishes. 21st place at North Wilkesboro. If you're looking for a short flat, that's a really good run she had earlier on the season, but it's really every week she's somewhere 26th to 29th, just about, and even better in some weeks, some 18th, 20th place finishes, 22nd sprinkled in there. She's good. She's reliable. She's not one of those people that you constantly see. Oh, there goes. Oh, look, it's, somebody spinning out again. It's Chris Wright. He's back, I think, in a truck again this week. Maybe we should have mentioned that at the top of the show. But where he's always getting involved in a wreck or stuff like that. And we saw it with Dean Thompson last year, right? He had the upside, but always in wrecks all the time. Tony's not doing that in the same truck, actually, so it makes sense there. But she just goes out, puts together solid weeks. She's in a great truck, by the way. It is a Tricon truck. It's not obviously performing to the level of a Corey Heim, but it's a good, reliable truck. She does the best that she can do with it each and every week. That's all we're looking for at $5,900. Again, keep me safe, give me some points while my Heims of the world, while my Riggs of the world go out and score the big dog points that we're going to get at the top of the board there. Somebody like her is a very good complement to a lineup like that, where she's just contributing her part to it, and that's all we need from her.
It's funny, TK, she's solid as long as the commentary doesn't mention her. If they do, then she gets spun out 5 flops later. It's true, though. That seems to be the curse.
Yes. We need to tweet at the FS1 booth and say, don't mention Toni this week so we can get a good finish out of her, please. Thank you.
Just give us the nice little solid.
Is that the problem with Daniel Dye all these times, the last couple of years? Remember, Michael Waltrip was just salivating over him every single week, and then you'd see him spin and get the camera angles for us, right? Is it because they were mentioning it so much? Maybe there's
probably a lot to that, but
he spun much less than Xfinity. So
there you go. But somebody else that tends to have this happen to him as well is Spencer Boyd. I hate it when they always say his name, right? He's the 76 truck racing for Freedom Racing Enterprises, is what DraftKings is telling us. But yeah, I mean, listen, Spencer Boyd, every time they bring him up, it just seems like all of a sudden he gets into something. But this season, not bad. 22 fantasy points per race, $5,600 for the 76 truck got you 21 points. This is a lot like you could probably just copy and paste what Cody just said about Toni Breidinger into this, because he's pretty much just a solid guy that's going to go out, start in 33rd, finish in 27th, get you 21 points along the way. A couple weeks ago, started in 26th, finished in 23rd, got you 22 points in that race. The road race got you 9 points. Again, we won't hold that against him, but or I'm sorry, he got you 37 points. Sorry, at the road race. I was looking at the Euro 250, but
so we
still will hold that against him. But 22 points the week before that, 40 points a few weeks ago. So he's got a pretty decent upside, right? Where he can get you some pretty solid point productions. And I did forget to mention, though, that Matt Mills is one of the only drivers out there, circling back, that has actually been on this track. You would think that Spencer Boyd, with his extensive truck history, has been on this track. He has not actually been on this track before in the trucks, believe it or not. Matt Mills, of course, was. But I mean, look, like I said, Spencer Boyd, 19th or 16th at Bristol, or that's Matt Mills. Click on the right link, Rod. Spencer Boyd, 27th at Bristol last week, 23rd at Darlington, 18th place at Watkins Glen. I told you that. 16th place at Michigan, a good solid run there after starting 29th. 15th at Texas, 15th at Rockingham after starting in 31st, 17th at Martinsville after starting in 26th. So good, solid top 20 finishes in a lot of these shorter, flatter tracks for Spencer Boyd. That seems to be his bread and butter. And like I said, if you're dipping down low, $5,600 for Spencer Boyd seems to be a pretty good solution to your I need some salary relief problem.
Yes, I do like it. We did go over the budget by $2,000 still, Rod. So again, we're not building actual lineups. We don't know all the details, but these are good pieces to work with, good pieces to use. You know, maybe you pick a Highmore or Riggs. If one of them has just a spectacular day, the other one won't necessarily be optimal as well. But all good building blocks and building pieces for whatever, you know, and there's different ways to build your different lineups too, whether you're playing in a cash game, whether it's our small group of people that are playing, or whether you're trying to take down a big GPP thing, whether you're trying to do a double up, all sorts of different strategies going into it. So pieces that you can take and use as
we've always told you time and time again, if this may be your first time listening to a DFS episode, we're never trying to build you a full lineup. We're just giving you the people that we like. And then if you can make a full lineup out of it, great. If not, then pick what you like and discard the rest. So speaking of which, get out your pen and paper. We'll go over our DFS picks for this team. EJP 175 from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Cody started you off with Lane Riggs as his high price driver at $12,500. I said Corey Heim, time, $13,500 for Corey Heim. And then Cody took a step down to Daniel Hemrick at $8,500 as his mid-tier driver. I said Matt Mills at $6,400 would be my mid-tier driver. Cody said Toni Breidinger would be his low price driver at $5,900. I said Spencer Boyd at $5,600 was my low price driver. All right, come back. We will have the Cup Series DFS picks for you. And until then, let me tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog is a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 5,000 even X your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats. It's available in a ton of sports. Look, I've given you so many different crazy sports over the course of your life. How about Korean baseball? Let's pick some Korean baseball. I'm going to scroll right now. I'm here. Andrew Stevenson, his hits and runs and RBIs are set at 2.5 for the KT team out there, KT Twins against LG. Let's take higher then. Why not? It's 1.1 times your entry if you give Andrew Stevenson's of KT a 2.5 hits, runs, and RBI total. Have some fun with that. I know it's an early morning sweat, so if you want to stay up and watch the game, by all means, go ahead, do it. Underdog's got a brand new offer for customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with promo code with our promo code RACE SGPN. Let's tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. Rhythm is off to a great start in college football and the NFL. Rhythm has introduced a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes for just tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model, and you can win up to $1,000. Looking over here at the Falcons and the Panthers, they are predicting the Panthers plus 3.5, well, 3.4 really. So that is where you're going to go with that one. If you're going to take that to the bank and see where that gets you, they're giving the Panthers a little bit of an edge against the Falcons. So the Falcons are 5.5 point favorites right now, and the Panthers at plus 5.5. So guess what? They're giving you 3.5 or 3.4 as the prediction on Rhythm. Guess you should take the Panthers as well, especially at 5.5. So that works out in your favor. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25.
That's a true test of the model because nothing inside of me wants to bet on the Panthers at any point in time.
Well, I mean, they are taking on the Falcons, and we have definitely seen Bijan run wild, but that's about really the extent of it. Not scared.
Yeah, see, and that's a tough one because, like, Minnesota fooled me into thinking they were a good team after that one good quarter. That was horrible in my side of things. But then Atlanta looked good, but then you remember Minnesota's not good. I don't know. It's a tough one. You're going to have to ride with Rhythm.
I would ride with Rhythm on this one because I definitely just don't know what to do with anything outside of that.
Division game too, so
true. Although I was going to say as well, talking about the Korean baseball, I did have the honor and privilege of being able to watch a live Lotte Giants game in Korea, and boy, I got to tell you, that atmosphere is electric. Cheerleaders, there's like everybody's screaming and hollering. It's a great place to watch baseball. If you ever find yourself in Korea, go watch yourself a Korean baseball game.
Yes, great advice.
Thank you very much. All right, but if you're in New Hampshire, time to watch the Mobil 1 301 from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire, set for 301 laps around this 1.058 mile paved track for 318.458 miles. Cody, again, we now begin a new round of the playoffs for the Cup Series. We've lost 4 drivers, and now the rest of the 12 are on their way for another cut round soon.
Yes, we've lost them. Hopefully somebody can find them, especially Josh Berry. He's really been missing. But on to the round of 12 here. It starts all this weekend. Nothing special on the entry list. It's 36 cars, the 36 full-time drivers we've had this year. That's it. No Austin Hill to terrorize things. Nothing crazy in this one. Very straightforward. And we already know who's going to dominate and win this race. So,
Indeed. To his credit, though, he did not cause as much terror as the tires did Austin Hill. So that's everybody was saying.
Yes. Well, at least he had the tires to hide behind. So let's
absolutely love it. All right. Well,
although Ty Dillon kind of took that mantle last. Like every time you look up and there was an incident, Ty Dillon was just right there in the frame. And it was like, oh, is Austin Hill driving the 10 car?
He pulled off his mask and he's like, it's me. I'm Austin Hill. All right. Well, then, as we do every time, we'll give you our high price driver, mid-tier driver, and low-tier driver for this race. Cody, who are you starting off? I think we already know this.
Rod, have I mentioned it's Christopher Bell week in New Hampshire? I feel like maybe I have and been mentioning it for weeks, but there's a reason I've been prepping you for this because I just love Christopher Bell so much this week. Obviously, if you listened to the betting episode yesterday, I went through an entire long rant. Go back and listen to that. I'll clean up the notes, keep it shorter this week. But he is absolutely amazing here. He's had a great career here through all facets of everything he's run here. I think that he will clearly have the best car this weekend. I think he'll clearly be the best driver this weekend. I did give out a car lift on him yesterday. Spoiler alert, the pole, to win the pole is part of that. If he starts on the pole, watch out because I think he's going to run away with things very quickly. And even if he doesn't, like last year when he started in 4th, he still led 149 laps. By the end of stage 1, he was up there. That's what we should look at. Ooh, I might add to the car lift with some stage bets for Mr. Bell, Rod. But that's the thing, right? Led 149 laps here last year, got the win. 2023, kind of that anomaly race. I need to go back and actually look at what happened in that one, but I feel like, I don't know. I need to go back and look at that. So I'll report back on the Truck Series episode tomorrow what happened there. He did start on the pole, but only led 1 lap, finished in 29th. But that doesn't look like anything else he's done throughout his entire career. 2022, led 42 laps, won the race. 2021, second place finish, was running down Almirola at the end, would have beat him if they didn't change the advertised distance of that due to darkness. Truck Series, we mentioned it last time they came here, 2017. Christopher Bell was the winner, led 73 laps, swept the stages there. 2016, his first career Truck Series start here. Finished in second place to William Byron, who was kind of the stud for, I think Byron won the championship that year as well, in 2016 for Kyle Busch Motorsports. So, yeah, just great. And then Rod, we mentioned it yesterday, 4 career starts here in the Xfinity Series. Not 1, not 2, not 3. What is the LeBron? 4 wins in the Xfinity Series, and all 4 starts here. Led 186, 151, 93, 43. He's dominated here every time he's been out here. He's got late model wins here. He's got all sorts of wins here. Oh, and by the way, he's coming off of winning last week at Bristol. Shout out to you for calling that. You gave that out on the show. He went out, got the win in a tough race, whatever, but he's been known to win back-to-back races because he did it earlier this year even. He hadn't won in a while, but when he won earlier this year, he won 3 races in a row. Don't let this guy get hit hot. Don't let him get hit either, preferably, because I'd like for him to have a good, strong day. But JGR's on right now. Toyota's on right now. Seabell's on right now. And he's coming to this track. It is the perfect storm. I will probably have 100% rostership of Seabell this weekend. And when I say probably, I mean I will, because it's all about Seabell for me this weekend. I will live and die on that hill in many different ways. So, yeah, give me Christopher Bell. And he checks in. He's not even, well, he is actually the most expensive. He's 11-2, just above Denny Hamlin, but I don't think they priced him too high by any means based on how fucking good he's been at this track. So give me Christopher Bell at $11,000.
Gotta love AI for this, right? So I typed in Christopher Bell 2023 New Hampshire, and I got this. Christopher Bell obviously was on the pole, like you said. He led the first lap and was in top 5 for much of the race. Key incidents: a slow pit stop during the first stage due to a loose wheel dropped him from 2nd to 10th. The team made the call to pit twice during a later caution for the loose wheel, forcing him to restart in the back. And then with less than 30 laps to go, Bell took 4 tires, but the decision was negated when he spun and hit the wall on lap 288. So that is what happened to Christopher Bell.
Oh, and I think now that if I recall correctly, he had fought like all the way back up to like 5th when he did spin out, and it was like this miraculous comeback, and then it just got, stopped short. So there's going to be outliers, right? Racing incidents happen, loose wheels. But outside of that, he's been stellar here. Even in his first career start here in the Levine family racing car, that 95, 28th place, but he started 35th. That was a bad car, a 28th place finish for that car, especially in those days back in 2020 with no practice, like young rookie guy just coming in. It was an impressive run, and he's been just so amazing here throughout his entire career. It's all Seabell. I think I'm gonna go buy a bunch of DeWalt tools this week and just sit on the couch with DeWalt everywhere, because it's all.
I think you should. So, all right. Well, then I'm gonna go a little contrarian. I'm gonna go with a guy that has not particularly done well here, especially in the next gen era, and that's Ryan Blaney. He got you 18 points in 2022 as far as fantasy points are concerned, 8.4 in 2023, and then minus 0.15 in 2024. But Ryan Blaney, he's either going to be really, really good or he's going to be really, really bad. $10,500 for Ryan Blaney this season. Ryan Blaney is he's so frustrating because he's so damn good, right? And yet
that size says
it's
it
true.
all.
But he still's averaging you 38.9 fantasy points per race over the course of the season. 51 points last week, 46 the week before, 20, 56, 71, 46, 64, 60, 66. A really stellar back end of the season as terms of fantasy points are concerned for Ryan Blaney. Finishes a 4th, 18th. He won, right? The Coke Zero Sugar 400. 3rd, 6th, 4th, 7th, 8th, right? Going back to the Echo Park Automotive 400. So, like I said, a really good back half of this season for Ryan Blaney, going through Bristol in 4th, Gateway 4th, 1 at Daytona, 3rd at Richmond, 6th at Watkins Glen, 4th at Iowa, 7th at Indy, 8th at Dover, and then you go back 3rd at Pocono. He won at Nashville, 3rd at Kansas, 3rd at Texas, 5th at Bristol, 5th at Darlington. Really, I don't have to sit here and tell you, if you watch NASCAR for 10 minutes, that Ryan Blaney can be the best driver out in the field. He's the championship driver that he is, right? So for me, this is where a lot of people are going to look at his performance here at I was going to say Nashua, in New Hampshire, which is in New Hampshire, by the way. Yeah,
Close enough. New
well,
Hampshire.
Nashua is in New Hampshire, so that's why I always said. But no, so yeah, like I said, for Ryan Blaney, it's just a matter of he's just got to put it together, and he's been putting it together lately. I'm hoping that maybe this track and his track history doesn't come back to bite him in the ass in this instance, which is where I'm kind of putting my money. I'm kind of saying that maybe he turns it around. Obviously, a playoff race for this one, and in fact, I believe. Right, this is the first time that we talked about. This is the first time that this race has been in the playoffs, and the first time.
Yeah, traditionally July, June. So yeah, it's not usually run this late. And we do know Penske team, they turn it on this late in the season. In the playoffs, short flats have been extremely good for them. That's why they've won 17 championships in a row in the Cup Series. Not really that many, but close enough. And so yeah, I from that angle of it, I see. I mean, unfortunately for you, it's going to be a JGR-dominated weekend, mostly by Christopher Bell. But if another team were to do it, I would take a Penske car, Blaney or Logano, before I would take a Hendrick car, if that shows you where I think the team stands.
And I agree with you, which is why, like I said, Blaney would be my contrarian play, just like a throw out there for a GPP, just in case Christopher Bell gets collected early in the race and doesn't get a chance to lead all 301 laps of this race, and Blaney can get up to the front. So definitely love that one. Just a quick step down. All right. Speaking of step down, Cody, who are we going for our mid-tier driver?
Yeah, I mean, it's a step down in price, but I don't know if that's much of a step down in driver these days, Rod. John Hunter Nemechek, $6,200. Look, it's a guy we've talked about a ton lately, but for really good reason. This Legacy Motor Club team has been lights freaking out. They've run really well. He started 28th last year, finished in 8th place. I will remind you, we did this yesterday on the betting episode. It was a rain tire race last year. Things got chaotic at the end, but hey, he survived the chaos. He ended up having a good, strong day. His only other career start was back in 2020 when he was racing for Front Row. Bad day, got caught up in a wreck. Not going to hold that against him. Does have a couple of starts here in the Xfinity Series 2018. Remember that 42, the solar, was it DC Solar, the big Ponzi scheme or whatever that guy was running that had a Chip Ganassi car, but he ran a good day, 5th and 3rd in the stages, ended up 4th place at the end of the day, came back here with GMS in 2019 and wrecked, but then he came back with Joe Gibbs Racing in 2023 in a good fast car. He led 137 laps, started in 2nd place, won that race. So really solid day for him. I was thinking Denny was in that race, but he was not. So never mind on that point. But really strong day in a very good fast car. And obviously what he's been doing for us lately has really been key, right? The 14th place run last week, 6th at Gateway, by the way, short flat track. Gateway is very comparable to this one. 4th at Darlington. So top 6 in 3 of the last 4 races. And even 14th, I'll take going from 19th to 14th in a race like he did a couple of weeks ago. At this price, that's a fine day for a guy like that, because it allows you to have good, strong days, 38 points in that scenario. So obviously he's had some huge days going from 30th to 4th at Darlington, ended up being 75.6 points, 52 points at Gateway, which is a great day, starting 20th, finishing in 6th place. So even when they're not starting well, still having pretty good finishes. Iowa didn't start well. Another shorter, flatter track, started in 29th, finished in 15th place. So you just kind of look through these examples, and it's been a nice, strong season for him. Phoenix started 36th place, finished in 14th. Honestly, I sort of hope that John Hunter Nemechek doesn't start well this weekend, because the results have been backing it up. The results have been there, continues to score tons of points week in and week out. So yeah, continue to ride this train with John Hunter at
absolutely love this play. And I love his teammate too, which is another guy you could go with around that price. I think Eric Jones is $6,500, somewhere in that vicinity. So, but I do like the discount for John Hunter on this one, because he has kind of been outrunning Eric Jones lately. So I will throw in a bonus of Eric Jones at $6,500 for that. But my official play of this slate, I'm not going to make a huge case for him, because you're either going to play him or you're not. What I say is not going to convince you if you've already been convinced not to play Josh Berry, right? Josh Berry in that number 121 or that number 21 Wood Brothers Racing car. It has been horrendous. 3 straight weeks of negative fantasy, but not just negative fantasy points, Cody, but points to the fact where it would take you completely out of a contest if you entered Josh Berry in that contest. Minus 27 last week, minus 19 the week before, minus 31 the week before that. All 3 of those playoff races. Josh Berry no longer in the playoffs now. Josh Berry is clear of all playoff obligations and can go back to his normal days, which aren't really that great in and of themselves. But I will say that at Daytona,
JDK,
they were in Daytona. He got 38 points at Daytona. The week before that at Darlington, he got 45 points. A couple of weeks before that at the Glen, he got -5, which road course kind of bad there. But in Iowa, he got you 32 points. Got you 42 at the road course over in Sonoma, right? And then 55 at Pocono. So, look, we know that Josh Berry has not been the poster child for consistent days, right? It's not something that makes you go, oh, yeah, I'm definitely starting Josh Berry. But contrarian play as he is, $7,400 for Josh Berry. If he can go out and get a solid finish like he did in his very first time out, where he got you the 6th most fantasy points on the day, 54.3, right? Where he started 10th and finished in 3rd and had 14 fast laps. I'm not even asking for 54. I'll take 34 out of Josh Berry. I'll take a good, clean run out of a driver that is, like I said, relieved of all playoff pressure. I said this in the betting episode yesterday, Cody. I feel like his win earlier in the season was the worst thing that could happen to him because it put pressure on him all the way up through the playoffs in that team where they probably didn't need that kind of pressure, right? They just needed to go up.
It was the worst thing that could happen.
I know, because you drank the Kool-Aid and you drank it in a big way. But here's what I'm saying. All I'm doing, and then, like I said, you've either made up your mind or you haven't. But I feel like Josh Berry this week has less stress and can just go out and run a good, clean race. And maybe that's all he needs. So 3rd place he finished here last year, right? In the 4 car that was going out of business. So maybe he can put together a good run with this 21 car and finish in the top 15 after starting in 25th or something like that. Just get me some good points. That's all I'm asking for out of Josh Berry.
Yeah, I mean, the positives that I would take out of this pick is nobody's going to play him because they've watched the last 3 weeks, and you can't blame anybody for that because you look at him and you think gross. But that's a good thing if you're looking for a contrarian pick, if you're looking to be different, especially in these bigger contests. A guy like a Berry does have the upside. He had a great finish here last year. Yes, it was the rain race, but this is his type of racing, the short, flat track stuff where he should be good. Penske's been good at this type of racing. That's essentially a Penske car. So, yeah, I mean, and to your point of not being in the playoffs, it does take a big burden off of these guys. All the pressure we know affects everybody differently, and it gets to these people. And TK saying he wouldn't be surprised if all 4 eliminated drivers suddenly have a decent run. Now that it won't matter, we see that often where these guys come out and it's like, well, there's no pressure anymore. All of a sudden, oh, look, they're having a good day. What if Alex Bowman had made it to this week, right? A good solid day, put it together. Just, we're going to have those conversations as guys get eliminated because it happens every single year because things do change. You're complete everything about the way they approach this race, everything about everything they do in the race, all changes with the mindset. So, yeah, I don't love the play because of the last 3 weeks, obviously, but I like the play from the fact that it's going to be different. And there is a potentially high ceiling there while it feels like it would be hard to get to.
And that's the other thing too, where you play hypotheticals. You're like, well, hey, if he goes out and he has a top 5 finish, well, where was that all playoffs? Well, because he wasn't in the play. I mean, he's not in the playoffs anymore. He doesn't need to be pushed for these points. He doesn't need to be cognizant of much more than just run a good, clean race, finish this race, right? And we're not worried about stage points. We're not worried about position. We're just worried about going out and finishing well. So absolutely.
And maybe they'll set the car up to last more than 7 laps this week. It'd be ideal.
Maybe they'll put bumpers on the side so that when people actually, but they bounce off of them instead of wreck them and collect them. So it has. All right, Cody, let's take a step down to our low price drivers. Who do we got?
Yeah, I'm going to jump over to Todd Gilliland, a guy we haven't really talked about too much lately. Hashtag Gilly Gang. I'm going to take him $5,200. Kind of a guy I have my eye on. I'm in a fantasy league where you pick, usually like throughout the season, you pick drivers based on a salary cap. It's 6 drivers for 2 races at a time, but you get to the playoffs and they mirror the playoffs, right? So you're picking for 3 races at a time. And so looking at cheap drivers in the pool, and I'm like, Todd Gilliland, kind of a guy that jumps out to me, a guy that I like in this pool, because I think we've seen a little bit from him lately that we've seen from him before. And you go back and you look, his first start here in 22 at 25th place, improved a little bit, 21st place in 23, improved a lot. Last year, actually led 19 laps and finished in 12th. Now I will asterisk again, it was the rain race. Yes, I'm sure some of that chaos played into it, but we've seen him get a little bit better here each year. So I like that. He's moved from the 38 and from splitting time some of those years with other guys jumping into that ride because they didn't have enough money to fill it, to now he's in the lead car, the 34, the first guy to ever get a multi-year deal from Front Row, all this stuff. And he's been running pretty decent here lately. 24th place last week at Bristol. You liked a little bit better at Gateway, especially with it being a short track, but that's okay. 26th at Darlington, 11th at Daytona, 25th at Richmond is not a bad day. Places like Indianapolis, though, not long ago, he did get a 6th place finish. I will say some of the short track finishes a little concerning. Iowa didn't run as well. I'd like to see a little bit better from that, but tracks like Nashville, a 22nd place finish after a 35th place start, that's getting you some good solid points, some good solid days. Phoenix, we saw him start 27th, finish 17th. You'll take that at this price. So Todd Gilliland, a guy that I'm going to call my shot on this week at $5,200.
I love it. Yeah. And look, again, when you start to get down this low, you're just really looking for guys that can get you fantasy points. When you have to cram the Christopher Bells of the world in there, kind of like we had the discussion with the Truck Series race, right? I mean, you got to find those folks that are not going to go out and lose you points and can get you good, solid returns. So I like Gilliland.
So wait, why'd you give out Barry?
Because he's a good variance play. Look, okay.
Okay.
When Josh Berry goes out and actually has a good, solid top 20 run this week, then we will have a better discussion about this.
This is going to be one person that owns him in the pool, and it's Rod.
Definitely will be me, and I don't care. I will take that. All right. How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as my low price driver? 27.3 fantasy points per race for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. this particular season. And actually, that's not bad considering all things considered, right? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. better than Kyle Busch on the season in fantasy points per race, better than Carson Hocevar, better than Austin Dillon, better than Daniel Suarez, better than Michael McDowell, better than Zane Smith, AJ Allmendinger. Ricky Stenhouse quietly putting together a solid DFS season. Last week, he got you 14th, 14 points. That's not very good, but 37 the week before that, 23 the week before that. Lost you 4 points at Daytona, but that's a super speedway. It's going to happen. Got you 37 points the week before that, 30 the week before that. What does that mean in terms of finishes? Well, like I said, that's 22nd at Bristol. Unfortunately, that wasn't very good for him, although he did lead 5 laps in that race, did Ricky Stenhouse. 20 at the Gateway after starting 34th. That's a good day. 35th at Darlington, he finished 30th after starting 35th. And then at Richmond, started 36th, finished 23rd. And then let's take a look at Iowa, 33rd place finish. Blah. But you take a look at some of these other tracks that he's actually been pretty stellar at. Michigan, started 30th, finished 20, good DFS day. Charlotte, started 11th, finished 11th, pretty good DFS day. Fort Worth in Texas, started 34th, finished 6th, a fantastic DFS day for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. that day, 75 points to be exact in that particular race. So, his average start this year, 28.2. His average finish, 22.3 or 22.4 rather. Only 3 DNFs on the season. Ricky Stenhouse is $5,400, and if he can get you 25 points, you would be thoroughly happy with that. That'd be a good return on your investment. And I was that clip of him fighting Kurt Busch old or new? I saw a clip of him fighting Kurt Busch or Kyle Busch.
Kurt Busch or Kyle? Well, they had their deal at
that must
Wilkesboro a couple of years.
Because I saw that and I was like,
where he was just he's in his shorts and he's just waiting.
Well, there was that, but there was one that I just saw of him throwing hands with him in another instance. But
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if those two guys have had a run in before.
Might have
They've
been
around
AI.
for a
I
while.
don't know. But but Ricky Stenhouse.
Could have.
Look, like I said, all I need out of him is a good, solid 25-point day, and I will go home happy. So that'll be my low price driver.
Yeah, much like we talked about with, like Toni Breidinger over in the Truck Series and stuff, Daniel Hemrick, not DNFing and just having a decent floor is what you like out of the guys like this. You mentioned only 3 DNFs. He knows with that team, one of the worst teams, it's a one-car garage, like all this stuff, just go out and check their boxes, have a decent day. He's good at that. He's a veteran driver at this point. He's taken his lumps. He's learned his lessons. He knows how to get to the end of
One last point I'll add, because I had this all pulled up and I kind of got sidetracked. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 11th in terms of fantasy points last year. He started 13th, finished 7th, had 43 points for you. 19th, 26.9 points on the day in 2023, and then 22 points in 2022. So in the next gen era, it's gotten you good, solid 20 some odd point finishes, if not more. Love me some Ricky Stenhouse. So, all right. Get out your pen and paper. About to go over our plays for this Mobil 1 301 from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Cody started you out with Christopher Bell, because it is officially Christopher Bell week at $11,200 as his high price driver. I gave you Ryan Blaney at $10,500. Did not mean for my entire slate to be contrarian, but here we are. Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek at $6,200. I was going to say Joe Nemechek.
But I got a
Boy,
flashback
I
to
got
Joe.
looking at my
there,
car
huh?
over there. It's like Joe Nemechek. Yeah. So John Hunter Nemechek, $6,200 is his mid-tier driver. I said Josh Berry, $7,400 was mine. Cody's riding the Gilligang train at $5,200 as his low price driver, and I'm going with Ricky Stenhouse at $5,400 as mine. Expert suck checking in saying, "Yo, midday is way better than late night." Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
A lot of people love our late night episodes.
A lot of people do love our late night. Although the beginning of the show started out like a late night episode with me forgetting what I was trying to say, but
it does.
Shit happens.
All right. Well then, Cody, we will be back tomorrow. We will have trucks for you. And this was a great mid-week kind of stop along the way for DFS.
Yes, a great midweek stop. So had a lot of fun, and excited to talk about the Truck Series tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Build out a full betting episode based around the Truck Series in New Hampshire. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So, we'll see you guys all tomorrow. Right in the meantime, you can follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb, where you can find all of my stuff. Appreciate you guys clicking on the articles, reading the stuff that we put out there. Helps us out a ton. And
yes, sir. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio. Actually, no, it's not, because I have to update that. I clicked on it the other day and it took me to another site that said no. So there's no link in the bio to everything I got going on. Just check out my feed for what's going on. But make sure you check out the back road tomorrow. It'll be Elliot and I talking about all things New Hampshire. And maybe we'll have a lobster or two hanging out with us in the meantime. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for trucks. Thanks for hanging with us for DFS. So we'll see you then. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.